Hello and welcome back to Ask RPZ. We've had a little bit of a pause and this is episode 6.
All right, the first question we have from Noah Hassan is how much of good marketing strategy relies on video content?
It's a good question. Thank you for the question, Noah. And it's funny because I run a video company and so my answer is probably going to surprise both Noah and a lot of people. I don't think you have to have video to do good marketing. Certainly video is a competitive advantage, but good marketing means reaching the people who want to hear from you where they are in the world at the right time when they are ready to hear the message that you have. And video is one way to do that, but it is by no means the only way to do that. You can take a video and you can strip it for audio and create a podcast. You can transcribe it and write a book or articles. But for each person and each organization, the process of reaching your customers where they are is really the only thing that matters in marketing.
And what is the relationship between video and the larger story of a brand?
Video is just one way to communicate the story of a brand. It's not the only way. It is not the fundamentally most necessary way. I believe it is one of the better ways that if you can, whether through digital animation or live action or me talking direct to camera, if you can communicate via video, do so. But I don't think that there has to be any relationship between video and how an organization tells its story. The main thing is that every organization in some way, shape, or form should tell its story.
How should an organization market their videos so that new folks see it and take action?
Shout out to Jesse Fries, the founder of Startup Experts, a Xandr Media client. And I love this question from Jesse because I know the inner workings of why he's asking this question. Back in 2019 or 2020, we created an explainer video for Startup Experts. We conducted maybe 15 interviews with members of the Startup Experts community. So these are CFOs, COOs, CHROs, people who are at the front lines of operating fast growth tech companies, and talk to them, ask them questions in the way that Xandr Media does about what is Startup Experts, what value does it bring to you, what kind of community is it? And out of that, we created this incredible sort of testimonial style explainer video. That video is great at telling the story of what Startup Experts is to people who are already interested in Startup Experts. And so my guess is that Jesse is asking this question because that video is not necessarily great at reaching a much, much broader audience of new people who are not already interested, who are not already bought in. A tip that my old mentor, BJ Fogg, professor at Stanford University, gave me is don't try to persuade the unpersuadable. Don't try to sell people who are not bought in. Find the people who have the hunger for the thing you're offering and go sell to them. So Jesse, that video that we created, and maybe we can link to that video in Ask RPZ in this episode, is great at introducing Startup Experts to people who are already interested. But actually, the way that I would go about taking that content and new content and reaching a much broader and bigger audience is slicing and dicing, is taking that full explainer and all of the testimonials we filmed that day and turning them into short snippets that then can be shared with a broader audience. And going back to the 650, something like that, members of Startup Experts around the world, and conducting a 5-minute interview with each of them, and having each of those people post that interview on the internet, right? You can go to xandrmedia.com/DIY. We have a little tutorial that we put together on how to shoot great footage yourself just on your phone. You don't have to create a fancy explainer video in order to reach the masses. You can do it yourself. You sit down with them on Zoom, you have each of the members record themselves on their phone, and then you take, doesn't even need much editing. You take that 5-minute recording on the phone and have each of the members share it out. But it's this idea of volume. It's having each person reach out to 1 or 2 or 5 or 15 other people. And that's the way to take a single piece of content and disseminate it much more broadly.
So Emily Rogers is wondering, once you have your video content, how do you go beyond the initial LinkedIn push?
Shout out to Emily, a senior director at Kinkor Consulting, and I love this question from Emily. We've done 2 big commercial shoots for Kinkor Consulting, and so my guess is that Emily is asking about these commercials after they've been released. how do we get them out even more broadly? There's a book by Ryan Holiday called Perennial Seller. And it's this idea that the goal is to create content that lasts in perpetuity and that gets better as it ages. And it's funny, even with Ask RPZ, because people who know me well have heard 7 or 15 of the same stories. Angela has heard so many of my stories the same way or various nuances again and again. But what we don't think about is, let's say a stand-up comedian works their skit, works their content again and again and again and again, right? The best speakers, even, Brene Brown on stage, has her shtick, has the thing that she does, and refines it and refines it and refines it. And just because I might have seen that, or Angela might have seen something that I've said time and time again, doesn't mean that everyone on the internet has. And so my advice to Emily and to anybody who's got an incredible, compelling story and you want more people to see it is don't assume that people have seen it already. And so don't ever assume that 8 billion people on Earth have seen your content just because you know the story again and again. It doesn't have to be novel. It just has to be reworked and reaching new audiences. And per Ryan Holiday's, I think it's Perennial Seller, per his book and this idea, it takes a long time sometimes for something to really reach the audience for which it was intended.
Of all of those, which one is your preferred platform and why?
I've been creating content on the internet since 2007, 2008. I, like a lot of people, want to chase what's shiny and new. And so one of the things that I advise Xandr Media clients all the time, and one of the things I'm working on doing for myself, is finding a platform that really resonates with who I am and sticking to it. So for example, we were doing a lot of work on TikTok and really exploring TikTok, but honestly, TikTok, the vibe of the community on TikTok isn't me. I actually really resonate with YouTube creators, right? Because people have been creating as creators on YouTube for a long time. And if you look back, I was putting up videos on YouTube, not consistently, but back in 2007, 2009. And so YouTube Shorts has recently become a thing, right? In the last year, YouTube Shorts has really popped. I'm excited for YouTube. The longevity, the extent to which people have been creating careers on YouTube for a decade, and it's continuing to iterate as a platform. And then the other platforms that are really interesting to me, at my core, I'm a writer. That's how I do my best thinking, and that's how I do my best communicating. Everything that I do really well, I prepare for with writing. So any platform, old school blog, Medium, LinkedIn articles, where I can truly express myself in long form written.
Final question is, how do you and Xandr Media add value to clients?
The single biggest way to provide value to our clients is value more being historically correct than what will earn a quick buck today. I would rather, and I do this, people at Xandr Media and clients of ours have seen this all the time, I try to persuade clients not to hire us if I think that's what's going to be best for them. I'd rather really go to, if someone comes to us, for example, and says, I want a $30,000 commercial about our organization. My first question is going to be why, and then why, and why, and why, and why. I'm going to drill down. How is this going to be used? Who is this for? And I'm probably going to tell them, actually, go create a social media account, hire a video intern to follow you around and create a video series on YouTube, or write if that's your platform and your method of choice for communicating, right? Or actually, you don't need content. You just need to go and sell and generate revenue. Or you need to take a picture on your phone and text it because the VC that you're trying to raise a fund from or raise a round from just needs to hear from you directly. And so by really trusting my gut and being historically correct, even at the expense of short-term income, means that we build a reputation, because I'm building for the next 50 years. I'm building relationships, I'm building client relationships, I'm building relationships with people I work with. And so by trusting that will pay off long-term and being historically correct, that's how you provide value. Ask your questions for episode 7 of the Ask RPZ show. Ask questions about storytelling, marketing, narrative strategy, video production, social media, or if you want to get real personal, habit formation, peak performance, movement, HR. What are your questions? I want to know. Email me them at robin@xandermedia.com.